Thank you for joining us today for the Future of Facility Care, Integrating Automation and Sustainability, brought to you by Veritiv.
Hi, I'm Gwen Pyle. I'm the marketing manager for Veritiv with a focus on the facility solutions business. And I get to punt this to the true experts on this arena. And you wouldn't be here if you didn't want to learn insightful and actual insights into how to focus on sustainability and automation so you can make significant impacts on achieving your goals. And with that, I'm going to go off camera and then I'm going to run the slideshow and we're going to monitor the Q&A and Martha and Jesse will take it away.
Thank you, Gwen. Just a form of brief introduction. I can see many names, people that I know in the industry that have been so fortunate this past year. So I'm Martha Isa, and I'm Senior Director of Sustainability here at Veritiv. And I've been in the company 17 years, and 10 of those 17 in this industry. Very fortunate to be in ISSA as a member, participating in many of the events, and we're so happy to be here with Jesse and share some of our experiences and some tips that might help your business. So, Jesse?
Welcome, everybody. My name is Jesse Romberger. I am the Veritiv's Facility Solution Equipment Sales Specialist. I've been with the company for 22 years, and that whole entire time I have been focused on equipment, providing our customers cleaning solutions, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's building service contractors, food processors, education, K through 12 or higher, education and distribution facilities. So I'm super excited to be able to present on today's call, and hopefully we can educate you on some sustainability and future automation.
So for today, what we wanted to do, and just looking at the audience, I'm fascinated about the many locations on different time zones that we have today on this call, and also the different backgrounds in terms of what your business is. So we're going to try to frame this in a way that addresses everyone's concerns. I know we have several business owners, a lot of building service contractors on the call, some manufacturers, some distributors, some in the education and healthcare industry. So we're going to try to frame this in a way that everyone is getting a little bit of what you are here to learn, or potentially expand more your knowledge in certain areas. Just to put context, what we're talking when we're talking about facility care, we're talking about the cleaning process and cleaning operations. And when we talk about sustainability, I get this question a lot about sustainable products, green cleaning, and we're always talking about LEED and certifications. The first thing that we recommend to do is expand that view of what sustainability is. So for today, we want to expand that view by going through this whole sustainability wheel. We're calling it a sustainability wheel that touches in different areas that you wouldn't think it's sustainability, but each of these areas actually impact sustainability. And there's automation also implications that you can have in this different buckets. So that's why Jesse and I are going to tag team in going through all of them. So again, the question that I get the most is about product green cleaning and green certifications, but it's really beyond that, from design to the testing, through the reporting tools that's becoming more and more important, the actual operations, logistics that have a lot of impact in sustainability these days, and especially when it comes to emissions, continuous improvement, and of course, materials. We're going to still talk about cleaning tools and materials that you might use in your operations. So let's dive into that and go to design to start from there. So when we're talking about design and sustainability, less is more. And the best line of defense when it comes to avoiding waste and throwing things into the environment that are going to be harmful is avoid it from the beginning. So when it comes to cleaning processes and in your facilities, less is more could mean many different things. It could mean from right sizing your can liners. It could mean your SKU rationalization. You don't need 5 different flavors and colors of the same disinfectant or the same product that you use every day, 5 different mops. The first thing is to design to the process, have the right tools, and then have a SKU optimization, SKU rationalization, and of course, something that's going to help you in your process and optimize it and design it at the right size of the right measurements instead of wasting time and wasting your money on products that you're not going to utilize. And I know that if you want to take this to the next level when it comes to design, definitely having automation in mind is key. So Jesse, why don't we talk a little bit about automation and design?
Absolutely. Thank you, Martha. So, whether you're talking mops or autonomous scrubbers or manual brooms or power sweepers or vacuums or brushes or carpet extractors, you got to find your fit. Automation is really a mechanizing the task. So manufacturers out there have designed equipment in really 3 categories: good, better, and best. And those options are really to help determine your task at hand. So a lot of times when we're out there and we're looking at a piece of automation, it's choosing the right design for the task. And a lot of times we get questioned, hey, what's your tank size? What's the deck size? What's the power source? These are all common questions. But when you take a deeper dive into the sustainability part of it, you really need to focus on the ease of operation. How easy is it to maintain? Ergonomics, does it fit your entire staff or is it just going to be a designated operator? And machine performance. Some machines work a little bit slower. Other machines are high performance machines, depending on the task at hand and the design that you need. And sometimes we have multiple languages within our work staff. So how easy is it for them to learn the product and operate the product? But lastly, invest in the design of the equipment for the sustainability and the health work environment that you're trying to achieve. So make sure your employees can thrive, make sure your business can succeed. And really, the next spoke of sustainability, the wheel, is testing. Martha, would you like to elaborate on how testing is applied?
Yes, of course. So once you have that designed, either the process or you selected the right product or the right automated machine, the next thing is testing and taking the time to test that solution. And we don't have the time, we don't have the people to be getting this wrong. And once you decide this is the way that I want to go, this is the product that I want to utilize, this is the process that I want to use, then having some time to do some testing to see if it's providing the results that you need, that it's achieving the right timing to perform the task, that it's achieving the right cost from beginning to end, and the right results, then you can move your whole process to that new design. And when we're thinking about facility of the future and what's new, testing, it doesn't necessarily have to be a truckload of product that you're utilizing or have dozens of machines that you're testing, but it could be something that is online on a demo. There's a lot of simulations that are out there. There are a lot of calculators that you can use ahead of time. And if you have the right suppliers, they can provide all those tools and the right training and the right timing, the time that you need to test your solution. So in automation, it has a different type of testing, but similar principles, right, Jesse?
Absolutely. So, why test automation? Testing automation is very important because ultimately what we want to achieve is the return on our investment. And can we achieve these and other factors such as usability or repair? So, how friendly is the automation, whether it's a conventional scrubber or an autonomous scrubber or a sweeper or an extractor or anything in between? How easy is it to service, right? The health and safety, right? That is not just a piece of equipment, but the health and safety of our employees, our visitors, our customers. And how does automation prove wellness to the facility and the people around it? Enhance facility image. we don't just clean, we clean to enhance the facility image, improve the indoor air quality of it, and reduce product waste. Labor. We all focus on labor costs. Labor is one of our most expensive costs, and testing how we can reduce our labor for the task at hand and how we can repurpose that labor when we automate. And lastly is productivity. It helps you get more done with less. Automation, getting more done with less. And this focus is really to focus on the combat of labor shortages out there. So remember this, what gets tested can be measured, which leads us to our next topic. Martha, reporting tools.
Yes, measurement is definitely getting more and more important. And with the amount of data that we're getting these days and that we have to manage, sometimes it becomes very overwhelming. And what we're seeing, the trend that we're seeing is that customers want more and more different type of information, from what is the regulations that apply to the specific product, to I need to report my emissions, to what is the recycled content, does this have conflict minerals or PFAS. There's so much information out there, and different customers are asking you for different information. So having the right reporting tools is becoming more and more important. And what I recommend is, if you have a diverse group of customers, so if you're servicing different businesses, different buildings with different industries, and each of them have different sustainability goals, it can be overwhelming to build a tool that's going to satisfy absolutely everyone. So what I recommend is, the first thing is to ask your customer, what is your primary goal, and try to build back from that, what is the information that your suppliers can provide that can help you get that information to them. If you're in manufacturing of cleaning products, it's a similar thing, is asking your customers what's important to them. And then from that, prioritize what are the information that you need to gather from your raw materials suppliers to get the right reporting to your customers. And utilizing software, utilizing AI or anything that you can have, tools that, for example, ISSA has great tools that you can use for reporting in different areas, especially for sustainability. Utilize your network, utilize your suppliers' skills and information to build your own tools. Here at Veritiv, we do have a proprietary EcoScore tool that we use, and it's just a build-up and a consolidation of what our customers are requesting from us and the collaboration from our key suppliers. So I recommend that that's the best way to get your measurements and not get overwhelmed, is starting with your customer in mind and then collaborating with your partners. And in automation, I think this historically has been great, because with automation, you always have good measurements, right, Jesse?
Absolutely. Automation and reporting tools really go hand in hand to create fact-based cleaning. So you, in your daily operations, you might get reporting already, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, to help track your cleaning efficiencies and progress, right? Because if we aren't tracking that now, we don't know the next step that's going to take place. So what you're measuring really helps you to develop the next phase of our sustainability equipment journey. And this is what's leading to the growth of automation. And keep in mind, automation can just be a mechanized piece of equipment. It could be a conventional scrubber, or it could be an autonomous scrubber. Anything to improve the efficiency by mechanizing is going to be fact-based cleaning. So advances are really taking place in automation, right? Software platforms, mobile apps, they're assisting us in numerous aspects of the fact-based cleaning. So some of these you might be familiar with, some of them might be new to you, but you can manage and deploy your fleet from a distance now if you're focused on autonomous cleaning. You can set up productivity targets and receive alerts. You can receive efficiency reportings and productivity reportings, tutorials and training. So making sure your staff is up and running and functioning correctly. And also maintenance guides, making sure we're taking care of this automation. So I mentioned it earlier. What gets tested gets measured, and through reporting tools, what gets measured really gets done. So, Martha, would you like to introduce us to the next phase of the sustainability wheel, which is operations?
Yeah, so operations is what we all think about, the cleaning itself. And this is the heart of everyone's job that are here in this call is how we keep our facilities clean and healthy. And the operations themselves have a lot of components that can impact sustainability from the products that you're utilizing, of course, but it's about how you're using those products, how much waste that's generating, how much water you're utilizing, how you're organizing the process itself, what steps comes first. And that every step of the way is evaluating if you are adding or if you are eliminating waste, which is the key of the sustainability concept when it comes to operations. Here at Veritiv, we use a lot of lean principles to identify waste and eliminate it in every step of the way. And you don't have to be Lean Six Sigma experts in order to look at your process and evaluate from the moment that you grab this product. Are you using extra water? Are you using extra steps to go back and forth to the cleaning aspect of from the janitorial room to where you're going to utilize that product? Every step of the way, you can find ways that you can eliminate, and all of that is going to impact one way or another sustainability goals that your customers might have. And sometimes that seems like it's a very far reach. So let's say that your customer has this goals on reducing emissions or reducing water or achieving LEED products. All of that can be impacted, even if it's in a very small way, everything adds up. So the way that you're utilizing the product eventually has an impact on that end goal of your customer of reducing the emissions or reducing water waste or electricity. So your operations and the way that you look at them and how much waste you can eliminate with them is going to have an impact in sustainability one way or another. There's other things that we have to take into consideration when it comes to operations, and is the labor efficiency, labor costs. And it's not about eliminating labor necessarily, but how can we make their work easier and how can we optimize the hours that they are performing the task? And for that, for sure, automation is a key solution for that, right, Jason?
Absolutely. And I get this question a lot. How do we optimize our operations? And it's a simple answer. We automate. And automation really comes in many forms of equipment technologies and features. And it's really, we're just trying to simplify the task for you. Sometimes we take these technologies for granted. We're already using it and don't realize it's a part of automation in our operation. So when you're looking at any time of mechanized equipment, whether it's a scrubber, extractor, corded, battery, whatever it might do in your facility, think of these technologies that really will simplify your operation. So when you're purchasing equipment, right? Energy efficient equipment that's equipped with auto fill, auto dump, auto charge, eco modes, using less energy so they can clean longer. Power source, corded, maybe I'm not using it that often. Or battery. Do I upgrade my batteries from a traditional wet style battery to a sealed maintenance free battery? Or from TPPL, thin plate pure lead batteries, to lithium ion? All these technologies will help simplify and make the operation much easier. So simplification is really making our operation simple. So think of the equipment. Years ago, lots of water, lots of chemical, and now it's reduced water usage, right? Reduced chemical usage, building chemical features to reduce the chemical consumption. chemical-free options that are out there. And sometimes noise is a factor. So using lower decibel vacuum motors or eco modes on units to make our operation simpler. Upgrading your wearable items so they last longer, or they clean better, or they recover better. And really enhance safety. Make it simple for your operators, such as colored touch points for daily maintenance or service, auto shutoffs, LiDAR protection, which is light detection and ranging, and multi-language training. So when equipment is automated, even from the simplest to the most complex, our operation can be simplified. And that's the key to automation, is simplifying it. Less is best to help you achieve your goals. Martha, would you be so kind to introduce us to the next component of the sustainability wheel, logistics?
Yes, and we're going around the wheel here. We're going into logistics, and we'll get more into continuous improvement in materials. And when it comes to logistics, if we think about the facility care itself, we're thinking about the location and the four walls, the building, and the impact that might have in sustainability. But if we look beyond that building, beyond that facility, logistics can have an impact in our sustainability goals. And I wonder, if you want to enter this in the chat, like how many of you are being asked or are measuring emissions in your business, and if your customers are asking you for that, and we'd be interested to see that if you want to enter that in the chat. But when it comes to logistics, I think the main impact becomes with transportation. And nowadays, if your customers are going to ask for emissions and measure that the logistics are going to be intrinsic in that product emission itself, and it has an impact. Think in the past, for the most part, buildings would want like a just-in-time delivery. And we have to rethink that. We have to rethink, do we need this product every day? Do we need to have someone coming in every day? Or can we order and have a little bit more space in our facility and then order this with less frequency so that we don't have to have that transportation cost added over and over? And, with the more difficulty that we're having with either truck drivers or labor in general, having in consideration the logistics of how this product is being transported becomes more and more important. And in every step of the way that you're thinking about the transportation and how you're moving this product from A to B location, we are saving energy. And when it comes to automation, Jesse, would you want to walk us through how logistics impact automation or vice versa?
Sure thing. So as we start to mechanize our operations, we need to understand the supply chain. And that is key to taking it to the next level. So supply chain is when you're planning to integrate into the future. And it's not always what the manufacturer makes, it's how it's made and the process that it takes to get to your location. So logistic factors that we should consider when investing in automation, again, whether mechanizing or conventional or autonomous, you should really consider these factors, right? Is the machine built to order, or is it pre-assembled? Both of them have advantages, and it's really what advantages helps you the best. So when you buy a pre-configured machine, it does have advantages because it's faster setup, it's reduced labor costs. But on the other hand, built to order machines, you purchase what you're needing and what you don't want, and it's component reduction. So there's advantages to both pre-configured and pre-ordered built to order machines. The other factor that you should really consider is, where is the material sourced from? The more it's locally sourced, allows you to get your parts availability much quicker, and it also decreases the build times. So focus on where the machines are made. Strict production practices these manufacturers are implementing, and this is helping to reduce material waste and actually drive the cost of these pieces of equipment, mechanized units down. And this is a factor that we don't really consider when it leaves the factory to you. What type of packing material is around it? So reduced packing material and freight. You're seeing manufacturers now that are shipping machines with zero packaging, and you're seeing ones that are packed with minimum package. The key of this is minimizing our landfill waste and the time it takes to recycle that material when it comes in. It also drives out excessive transportation waste and weight that goes with the reducing the cost of shipping. So there is no time for downtime. Have your consumable items ready, right? You should all have, when you have any type of mechanized equipment, have those consumable items on your shelf, whether it's squeegees, filters, bags, brushes, or wearable items, because we don't have time to wait for that machine to get up and running. Have those items ready to go. And that really leads us into my favorite topic, which is continuous improvement. Martha, would you kick us off here?
Yes, yes. I know it's your favorite topic. When it comes to continuous improvement, I've mentioned lean principles, and I know that Jesse is a fan of lean principles. And part of it is utilizing continuous improvement to go from where we are in our sustainability goals to where we want to be in the future. Sometimes takes several steps. And if you or your customer have a goal of less waste, utilizing less water, or having more concentrated products, or if you are looking at having LEED certification and you have a way to go, you have to start somewhere, and you have to, like we've been saying, designing, testing, and looking at your operations every time for different trials. And you're not going to necessarily achieve it all at the same time, but as you're looking at getting to that ideal point where you want to be in your sustainability goals, having a project plan is important, and understanding what your customer wants to do and what are the steps that you can take to help them and tackle that one by one. And we're going to provide an example of how we did this for a customer. But continuous improvement and that concept of, if a customer is asking you, I want everything that is, let's say, Ecologo certified, and I want everything the EPA safer choice, or I want everything to be LEED credit. Can you do that transformation in one step? Probably not. But having and showing a plan that you can take one step at a time, and this month or this 3 months, this quarter, we're going to concentrate on this metric with transforming this product, and then showing, okay, what's the next step, and having a plan with your customer is a way to achieve this in steps. And that way you have a plan and is more palatable for any changes that you might need to do. And when it comes to automation, I know like your favorite topic, continuous improvement and lean. How would you apply that in automation, Jesse?
So absolutely. I said it before. I'll say it again. Hey, this is one of my favorite topics. I love talking about continuous improvement. And continuous improvement is really the initiatives and sustainability. It's a journey, right, of behaviors and processes and goals that we need to overcome to achieve our desired output, right? So whether you're a master black belt, yellow, green, or white belt, there is always room for improvement. And we can achieve this when we focus on creating standardization, right? It reduces the possible variance. Identify bottlenecks in the process. We all have bottlenecks in what we do on a daily basis. Let's identify them and take them out to make it more streamlined. Implementing planned maintenance agreements on our autonomy, automation, or mechanized equipment, right? That's going to help reduce our downtime. And overall, it's going to improve the overall clean of our facility, right? Adapting energy efficient alternatives, which is going to reduce our labor costs. And lastly, we want to drive our employee engagement, make them champions, right? So remember, continuous improvement is a journey for all. And don't stop improving It's a process. We're always going to be improving throughout the course of our life and the job that we're at. And Martha, this really leads us into our final talking point of the sustainability wheel, which is materials.
Yes, I mean, last but not least on materials. And this is again when we get asked the most, and people think of you think about green cleaning and sustainable products, you think about the materials themselves and the certifications that they might have, or the LEED credits that they might have intrinsically. But we want to expand that concept, because this is becoming more and more materials, not just if it has a certification, but it's also more and more important that supply chain transparency and the traceability. And what we're seeing is our customers more and more want that additional information about the materials of this product, not just where country of origin that's becoming important now with tariffs, and also supply chain traceability and human rights. Some of our customers are asking us, where are you sourcing this? Where are this suppliers sourcing their materials? And having that complete supply chain traceability and having the right partners to provide that information is becoming more and more important, especially if you have customers that are requesting that. On top of those regulations that are coming, I mentioned already, like PFAS or conflict minerals, there's a lot more information that the products need to have. When it comes to fiber products, a trend that we're seeing eventually, we don't know if that's going to happen here in the US, but in Europe, for any fiber product, there's a regulation that's coming up where we need to provide traceability down to the tree that was utilized to produce that fiber product. So we see this trend expanding. And when it comes to materials, it's not just about if it's efficient, does it have the right certification for sustainability? Does it have the least amount of waste when I'm utilizing it? It becomes also important that supply chain traceability and all the attributes that you can gather of that material. And it can be not just chemicals that used to be the most regulated ones, but now it's becoming also the packaging that comes with that product. And like I mentioned before, the country of origin of anything that you're utilizing. And again, I can't say it enough, having those partners and that responsible suppliers that can help you maintain that supply chain transparency is going to be important. And when it comes to automation, I know that there's more that goes into that, right, Jesse?
Absolutely. So a key takeaway on materials is, can it be recycled at the end of its life? And can the labor be repurposed? So whether you're using a mop or an auto scrubber, a broom or a vacuum, or deck brushes or extractors, sustainability comes in all different shapes and forms of the material. So sustainable operated machines use less resources. And this is amazing. This is shocking. Some of these machines are 50, 60, 70% less than just a few years ago in water and chemical uses, energy, and more important, labor to operate them and how it can be repurposed. While sustainable built equipment is no different than other sustainable products in the market, they use less resources to be manufactured. In many cases, 30, 40, 50% than just a few years ago. Whether it's the plastic, whether it's electronics, or whether it's the metals, and even the labor to build the machines, these material costs are all reduced by the components of the sustainability wheel, which is automation and design, testing, reporting, operations, and the logistics aspect of it. So in conclusion, Martha, would you like to review the main points of the facility sustainability wheel?
Yes, just summarizing everything that every aspect that we talked about. When we're thinking about the future of facility care, it's going back to the basics. And I think that everything that we've talked for all of you might be very familiar. It's things and components and things that you're already doing in your business and your day-to-day operations. But the distinction is that when we're thinking about what our customers are demanding is how we are putting all of it together as a solution for them, that we are packaging this in a way that from beginning to end, all your offerings have all these components of having the right design products, that you've tested this or you have your time to test it with your customer, that you have the right reporting to fulfill the reporting needs and make them look good, that you have a way to improve your operations, that you're considering logistics and transportation of your materials, that you have a plan on how you can identify different areas of waste and have projects to continuously improve on that. And also, of course, have the right products and materials. So again, it's what we're seeing is this trend that it's not just about here are the products and here's how I'm going to clean your building, or here's what I have to sell for you, or this is how I'm going to clean this specific room. Is about having this in mind in order to have the most impact that is good for sustainability, and that where you can utilize automation to improve this all the way. And we've talked a lot, we've shared so many concepts from design to materials, but let's just put it all together and how it really works with a customer. So this is an example where we had a REIT, we have this real estate investment company that had a problem with having multiple buildings with multiple programs across different states. And they could see from their numbers, there's waste here and there's we don't even know what's going on in each of these buildings. Can you build a program to solve it? And again, going back to the basics, but considering everything that we talked about, that wheel and the challenge that this investment companies have to have a handle on all the data that they need, and all even the travel expense of trying to figure out what's going on in each location. So we were able to help them in evaluating. We went to each of the facilities. We evaluated what products they were utilizing. We came up with a consolidated set of products. We did redesign in some of them that we knew that were waste. We consolidated with, like I said it from the beginning, you need 5 different things to perform the same task. And then at the end, we were able to provide this new set of SKUs that's being simplified for everyone. And it's a single report that goes to the REIT and to each of the buildings that allows them to understand what is going on in their improvement in their facility. And we were able also to move their score or their amount of purchases of sustainable items from not knowing where they are to an 80%. And this also included a lead report. So this is how things go all together. And again, like I mentioned, it's not necessarily something that is a silver bullet and something that you have to reinvent the wheel, no pun intended, on sustainability wheel. It's about utilizing everything all together when it comes to solve the problem to your customer. And I know you have an example with automation as well, Jesse.
I do. Thank you. So the future of facility care at Veritiv is one of our very own examples that Veritiv implemented and embraced. So we aren't just presenting and talking about sustainability and automation. We actually embraced and implemented an automated sustainability solution to our distribution operation. So like many distribution centers, right? Warehouse floors got to be clean. And if we aren't cleaning them, it's really presenting that slip, trips, and fall hazards out there along with other hazards. And we're using labor resources that we could be allocating to taking care of our customers, getting products out, picking, shipping, receiving, etc. So really, we implemented a solution, which is what we talked about today, is integrating autonomous, sustainable equipment, taking it from a conventional auto scrubber to deploying autonomous scrubbers across 23 of our distribution facilities. And this has been in place now for about a year and a half. Significant results. I can't say it enough. It's really set it and forget it. It's reducing our manual cleaning and maintenance costs up to 50%. We are getting reports through the apps of how often it's cleaning, the improved efficiencies, the square footage that it's covering, and it's also given us a return on our investment. So this project alone, the return on investment for Veritiv is projected at $3.4 million saving in labor costs that is being repurposed in other areas of the business over the next 10 years. And more importantly, the question that you should be asking yourself is, how are you cleaning your floors? Whether it's in a warehouse setting, whether it's in education, whether you're a building service contractor, or whether it's in a retail marketplace, all floors need cleaned. And how would you like to save that type of money and have that type of return on investment by using sustainable products and using automation? Martha, so what is the bottom line for sustainability and automation?
Yes, yes. So I think that from what we explained, and that there's so many things that can drive that growth, that profitability, and that long-term value in each of the steps that we showed you, looking at your design of the products that you're purchasing, that you're taking time to test so that you don't have to have returns of products from operations, logistics, everything. All of those are key drivers that are going to impact growth, profitability, and long-term value. And at the same time, as we gave some examples, it can also bring reduction of waste that at the end will be a lighter footprint and impact to the environment. And with that, I think we have a couple of questions. I do see one in the chat that I can address. And Jesse, also, if you have an opinion on it. So it says, do you have suggestions on how to minimize waste? And that is a big question, because the first question that I would ask to answer that question is, what kind of waste? And it depends, what are your goals and what are your customers' goals and what you're trying to reduce. Some customers, I mentioned many times, water waste, which is measured, plastic waste from the usage of the products that you're utilizing and how you reduce that, labor waste, like how many hours extra are you utilizing to perform the same task. So I would say that without knowing what specific type of waste, in general, just looking at your process, looking at the goal that you're trying to achieve in terms of what is the waste that you're trying to eliminate, go back to your process and look for options. A lot of observation, and like I mentioned, lean several times, like lean principles. And the first step that we normally do is just go to the janitorial closet or to your cart and look how many products do you have to perform that same task. And just by doing that and then observing how much energy is being utilized to transport those products between those two things, we find that we can eliminate a lot of waste. Anything to add, Jesse, to that question?
Very well said. Very well said. And it's really identifying what area of your business you want to tackle first, and do it by steps. This isn't overnight. You have to do everything. Identify the area of your bottleneck or your problem within the organization. And just remember, continuous improvement, we never stop learning and we never stop improving. So very well said, Martha, on how to minimize waste in your facility. So looks like there's another question. What's the typical return on investment on autonomous equipment? How many months or years? So realistically, autonomous equipment, there are numerous platforms out there, and each one is a little bit different on the design and what it's trying to accomplish. So return on investments that we're seeing on autonomous equipment could be anywhere from 6 months to 18 months to 2 years, depending on the scope of what it's trying to accomplish for you. So the best advice I can give you about what is your return is to have an autonomous expert come out to your facility, your site, identify what you're trying to clean, and when they can run a return on investment for that particular case.
Any other questions, Gwen, that you might be seeing? Chat.
So sorry, my screen went black. Yeah, so we got some good ones early on. Let's get into them. Like cleaning techniques for universities with a lot of traffic.
Um, well, again, without not being in the facility, I'm going to answer this from a sustainability standpoint, and then I'm sure with automation, you have a lot of tips when it comes to that. I think from a sustainability standpoint, and colleges and universities are very, very sensitive to what materials we are using, and that is the origin of green cleaning. Honestly, our students are the ones that are the most vocal when it comes why are we wasting this much, why do we have this type of product, and then parents that go visit the facility want to know that their kids are going to be in an environment that's healthy. So advertising that you have green cleaning programs is going to be very important when it comes to colleges and universities, for sure. And so that is, it's not necessarily a cleaning technique, but it's more about how to think about your program, making sure that the products that you're utilizing do have those sustainability claims and they have the recyclability or compostability that the campus might be able to adapt more than probably any other facility. And just
And over the years, I have been on many campuses of universities, whether it's in their housing department, their facility department, their athletic department, and it really depends on what building it is. Universities and K through 12 is not like it used to be. They're open 24 hours a day. Students are coming and going, and you have to really understand what needs to be clean, when it needs to be clean, and what your environment is. So what we do at Veritiv is really when we have questions like that, the best thing we like to do is come out, let's do a site audit, and let's see how we can help you get to your next phase of your sustainability journey or your automation of what you're trying to do. So campuses are fun. We love education. We love going into the college universities because they're all different and everybody has a little bit of a different cleaning challenge that's unique to them. And we can easily help you embrace sustainability and automation in your campus.
Another question I got was, it's not just like scrubbers. How about like those, like the monitors and the, dispensers? Like, what can those do for people?
Yeah, when it comes to, and if the question is related to sustainability, like what either scrubbers or dispensers, everything that we utilize for cleaning has some kind of energy that has been utilized that's going to impact the environment at the end. It has to be purchased, it has to be transported, and then it has to be disposed at some point. So I think that when you're selecting dispensers, when you're selecting scrubbers, when you're selecting any type of equipment, and if you have sustainability in mind, have all those different steps in mind. You know, where am I going to source this? Am I going to bring this from a long distance where you utilize a lot of logistics, transportation, energy? How long is it going to last? Can I reuse it? Can I use less of it, of what I compared to what I was using before? Or what happens at the end of life for this product and recycle it? And that applies to anything, including dispensers and scrubbers. Is asking those questions from the beginning to the end. What's going to be the impact of that product and how you're going to use it and how you're going to dispose of it?
And the technology around dispensers have really changed over the last few years. And what we're seeing is multiple products can be used in many different locations. So the reduction of the chemical or the need for large dispensers. In addition, and if it comes to whether you're using a mop bucket or an auto scrubber, some of these pieces of equipment actually are dispensing the chemical as needed, whether you're out in the full floor or not just in the closet. So make sure that you're considering all options when you are investigating into dispensers. Maybe it's built onto the piece of automation, maybe it's something you need in the closet, or maybe it's a portable dispensing cart. So many forms of dispensers that can be reduced. And keep in mind, most of those dispensers, whether it's material or operating, has been reduced by 30, 40, 50% just from 5 years ago.
All right. Well, do we have any other questions? I appreciate everyone joining. We would love to connect with everyone, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. If you have any more questions, then you can leave them in the chat, or of course, contact us. We are all in LinkedIn, and we'd love to connect many of you. And I like I said, I see so many names, have the pleasure of knowing some of you. So I appreciate attending today.
And if we did not cover your questions, please reach out, because we are very much here to assist you with sharing our knowledge and bringing you solutions.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for attending, everybody. Appreciate it.